Hey there, it's Jim and Debbie with another episode of the Midday Minute. Debbie, this is episode number 44.
My favorite number. Do you know why?
Because of your birthday, 4-4.
Because of my birthday. That's right.
And you're also born in 1944, so it's like 4-4.
Exactly. I've been waiting for this episode.
Right. Well, this is November. We're recording on Tuesday, November 10th, but this episode will air on Veterans Day. And you know what the Elks say about veterans, right?
Right.
So long as there are
veterans, the
Benevolent
Elks
and Protective Order of Elks
will never forget
them.
Right.
Today on the show, we have Mary Morgan, the director of the Elks National Veteran Service Commission, joining us to tell us how that's true, even during a pandemic. But first, we have a contest winner to announce.
We sure do. Your friend and mine from Virginia Beach, Virginia, lodge number 2268, not your daddy's lodge.
That's right.
Bev Hamby.
Bev Hamby, congratulations. Now, Bev is our fifth two-time winner, but I also kind of feel like at this point, is that even worth mentioning? It's like everyone's a two-time winner, right?
Right, I think it is. I mean, it's a random selection, so let's just keep, celebrating that.
Right. Well, congratulations, Bev. Please let us know in the comments below or by emailing enf@elks.org how you would like us to apply your $50 soft credit to an ENF-funded program of your choice. Maybe she'll choose veterans in honor of Veterans Remembrance Month. But
that would be nice.
There isn't a bad choice. There is not a bad choice. So let us know, Bev. Now, our viewers will have an opportunity to win another $50 soft credit simply by commenting on this episode with the hashtag ENF Midday. All right, well, what do you say? Without further ado, let's bring Mary in here.
Bring her in.
Here she comes.
There
Mary.
she is.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Midday Minute. Now, how are you celebrating Elks Veterans Remembrance Month?
Oh, well, it looks a little different this year, but I'm still celebrating. We're about to send out our annual report. I have a sneak peek of the cover here.
That's the kind of scoop we like to bring our viewers.
Well, I saved it for this exact occasion. So.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, speaking of the pandemic, I think what our viewers would like to know, what I'd like to know is like how can we safely serve right now and during this time with COVID? And also, like, what are some of the most pressing needs for veterans during the pandemic?
Yeah, that's the question that we've been dealing with all year long. And especially at the beginning, it was difficult. I know our volunteers, and so many of them have been volunteering for years and years. They go every week. They're really dedicated, and to suddenly have that stopped, it can be difficult for our volunteers, as well as certainly for the veterans who aren't getting the attention, the support, and the supplies that they normally need. But our volunteers have done a remarkable job of really shifting their focus from their previously planned events and outreach events to focusing on what the needs really are. And right now the needs are pretty basic needs. Veterans need food, veterans need hygiene supplies, veterans need warm weather clothing. It's really the basic needs that are our focus right now for many of our programs. And even though most facilities aren't allowing volunteers inside right now for safety reasons, because a lot of the population we serve is particularly vulnerable to this virus, we have some remarkable adaptations. We were just talking to Daryl Quinley, who's our representative at the Kansas City VA Medical Center, and they can't hold any of their regularly scheduled events, but they've partnered with the VA to help pull off a Friday happy hour. So every week the Elks drop off food and snacks and supplies so that the veterans can have a happy hour on Friday nights. And the Elks aren't there, but they're able to make it happen by coordination.
Awesome. Hey, Mary, how many Darryls are there around the country?
There's about 350 Darryls per se around the country in different facilities through the voluntary service program.
Okay, and our grant to you includes funding to help these Darryls meet the needs of veterans at these facilities, right?
Yes, yeah. So we send them funds every month, and so it's been ongoing. Our support has not stopped. It hasn't wavered to all those facilities, which is especially key because there are a lot of organizations out there that aren't able to provide support at their normal level this year. So it's been really great, and thanks to you guys for still giving us all those funds to send out to our volunteers to continue to be there.
Yeah, Debbie and I deserve all the credit for that.
We do.
Well, here's to the Darryls.
Seriously, here's to the Darryls.
Mhm.
You see the Darryls. I got my Pearl Harbor mug right here.
Nice.
But yeah, and then we have one of our Darryls is John Phelan, our representative in South Dakota in Hot Springs, and they normally hold a very well attended steak night for the veterans at their state veterans home there. And they've done so much planning and preparation, and they were finally able to move that steak night completely outside. All the volunteers got tested. They, put strict protocols in place. They wore warm clothing, and they pulled off their steak night completely outside. They said it was a huge hit. Everybody loved it. They even got calls days later from veterans thanking them for putting all the work in.
That's awesome. There's been such incredible creativity going on. It's really, it blows your mind.
And it'd be so easy right now, I think, for people to just sort of step back and not do these types of things, but that's just not in the Elks DNA.
Right, right.
It's not there. In fact, we have our volunteers calling us all the time, especially right when everything started. We had volunteers call our office and say, oh, well, can you get an exception for me and get me into the VA? And, we'd have to say, like, no, it means
Done.
everybody. They think we have a lot of power, but not quite. But yeah, it's remarkable, and we've come up with so many ways around it. We have our lodge in Allegheny, Pennsylvania, lodge number 339, is a really big fan of our Welcome Home Kit program. And normally they deliver the kits right to the veterans. They're not able to do that now. So now they partner with their social workers to drop off the kits, and then the social worker will drop them off to the veteran. And they got a call from a veteran back in August, I think, saying that when she dropped off the kit, the veteran immediately started crying. He was so thankful for all of his supplies. He'd never had a microwave before.
Well, when we think of
the messages.
Yeah, when we think of putting veterans in homes, we think, okay, we've got them and we've got the four walls and roof over the head, problem solved. But what we tend to forget is that, most of them move into these new homes with nothing.
Yeah, that's where the Elks really step into action, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And it can be huge for stability for somebody as well. We've had volunteers go in to drop off kits for veterans, and veterans were sleeping on the floor before the Elks got there. And they had no towels or dishes or anything like that. I mean, that can cost a lot of money for somebody who, has just about enough money to cover their expenses. So these kits make a huge difference to veterans when they move in.
One of my favorite photos that's come out of the Welcome Home initiative is of the veteran who's just sort of collapsed on a mattress, a new mattress that the Elks have delivered. He's just all spread out, and you could just tell how much that means to this guy that he's now able to sleep in a bed instead of on a floor.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a remarkable photo. We don't know who exactly took it, somebody involved with Hopkins, Minnesota Lodge, but yeah, we splashed that everywhere for a while, because it really captures the importance of the program, for sure.
And it's not just the supplies, right, with the Elks, it's the fellowship as well. I mean, obviously a lot of people are experiencing social isolation right now. What are the Elks doing to address that?
Yeah, so we have a Cards for Veterans program that we're promoting right now. So a lot of veterans aren't getting the social interaction that they normally get. So we're encouraging people to write cards and notes and letters and send them to veterans at state veterans homes or long-term care facilities. We have a lot of lodges who are organizing Zoom visits. And so they're just it's like they're still walking around the hospital and visiting with their volunteers, but someone's, carrying an iPad around and making that happen. Even Recreation, who we support and goes around and visits facilities normally, they are staging online performances all over the country. So they'll, and they visit with the veterans beforehand in the same way, picking up, either over Zoom or picking up the phone. So it's been a rough transition, I think, at the beginning for a lot of us, but we've certainly figured out how to continue being there for veterans. And some of our programs are designed to help out, in particular this year as well, like the Emergency Assistance Program, which normally we pay rent, security deposits, utilities for veterans who are either moving into a new home from a shelter, or a veteran who, had some bad luck and needs us to step in. We had a veteran recently who his brother passed away unexpectedly. And the veteran sold his car and used his savings to pay for the funeral and all the burial expenses for his brother. And then all of a sudden rent came due and he didn't have enough. And then he called his social worker, who called us, and we were able to cover all of the rent that this veteran needs to keep him housed right now.
That's amazing.
Can you tell the story about your fight to pay, was it an electric bill in Florida?
Oh, yeah, it's a long story. But you would think it would be easy to, make a call to a utility company and say, I have money for you. I have money to give you. Here's a check. But it's not as easy as you think, especially for veterans who don't have regular access to internet or have all their paperwork, or if they've moved and they don't have their old bills. But this veteran's account had been placed in a cash only mode because of previous problems she'd had paying her bills. So we wanted to come in and pay that bill for her, and they wouldn't accept a business check, and they wouldn't accept a credit card, and then they wouldn't accept payment from us at all. They wanted somebody to go to a Florida Power and Light location and pay this bill in cash. And we spent hours on the phone trying to figure this out and filling out paperwork. And finally, we got that bill, the power turned back on for this veteran who was working from home, and then her 2 children were going to school from home as well. So when their power went out, it was a huge problem for them, and continually for her. She's trying to pay her rent and she doesn't have power to do her job, and her kids can't go to school. So, you don't realize how difficult things can be until you're in that situation.
I think that story speaks to also how our money through our programs like Veteran Service often comes with volunteers attached with fellowship and advocacy when needed.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
It's admirable how much effort you put into helping out in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to do it, and it's nice that we're in a position to help. I mean, we owe these veterans a debt of gratitude, and they earned this assistance, and we're just trying to be there whenever they need it, so we can make things as easy as possible for veterans, especially veterans who are at risk of homelessness and really struggling to make ends meet. So that's really nice, and it's all because of our donors. So thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Mary. So if people want, you got any more stories you want to share?
I mean, I have endless amounts of stories. We hear from our volunteers, love our programs, and they luckily give us feedback all the time. So I could go on and on, but go to our website and we have lots of stories there. We've been putting so much up for Veterans Remembrance Month. So please go to elks.org/vets.
We'll put a link up here. And I love, Debbie, what I was going to say is I love that there's, if you're wondering what you can do if your lodge has been stymied by the pandemic, maybe there's some good tips on your website, Mary, about ways that you can serve safely right now and meet these needs.
Yeah, and I was going to say also follow Elks Vets on Instagram, because if you want to feel good about what the Elks are doing to meet the needs of veterans in need, you guys do a great job with posting those pictures, and shouts out to the lodges that are doing stuff. So I'd recommend that as well.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. We love our Instagram account. It's all good news all the time.
Yep.
And I'd
Agreed.
say, Mary, I would say that tomorrow's a big day for you, but really, for the Elks, every day is Veterans Day.
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah. We'll be highlighting it tomorrow, but we're there every day.
All right, Mary. Well, thanks for taking some time out for us. Get back to work.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Thanks.
Happy
Yeah.
Veterans Day.
Bye, Mary.
Bye.
Mary Morgan.
She's the best.
She sure is.
She
Had her
is the
start with the
best.
Elks at the foundation.
She sure did.
She's one of ours.
She really is. She started in donor services, right? And then
Yeah.
obviously she headed
Yeah.
up the community investments program. Cut her teeth on
oversaw the
it.
SIP during like a period of unprecedented growth for that program.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
then, made the jump to veteran service in about 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
2015.
So before we go, anything else happening, Debbie?
Well, today is, as you mentioned, well, when this is aired, it's going to be Veterans Day, so November 11th, but November 15th is Sunday, and that is the deadline for the 2021 MVS contest. So if you know any high school seniors, get them on our website, elks.org/ENF, and get them to apply. There's still time, so do that.
Okay.
Also, just want to say, this week we approved more than 3,000 grants. So not this week, but we reached that milestone too.
We crossed that threshold,
crossed that threshold.
Which is impressive. There's more than a month and a half left.
Right.
Although, as I say that, that's not an invitation to procrastinate. You need to jump on this.
No. Do
But
not
there's still
procrastinate.
time, right? And
Don't procrastinate.
December 31st is the deadline, and we're already at 3,000. So this should be a banner year for this.
We're at 3,000. Yeah, 3,007 last I checked last night. So that's awesome. That includes the Freedom Grants, which of course are through Veterans Service. Just stay safe, everybody.
All right. So just a reminder to comment on the episode with hashtag ENF Midday to be entered into our contest drawing for a $50 soft credit. If you need help, you would comment on anything you want, but if you need a prompt, if you're a veteran, tell us in the comments below, or maybe give us the name of an important veteran in your life would be nice. If you've liked this episode, how about a thumbs up? Thumbs up for our veterans. If not, feel free to give us a thumbs down. Either way, share it far and wide with your social networks. If you're not a subscriber already, please consider hitting that button and tap the bell so you'll be notified every time we post new content. Until next time, Debbie, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, veterans.
Thank you, veterans.